Yo, so guys, welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to something that I didn't really plan to do, but I saw it and I thought it would just be an interesting sort of reaction. And it is London versus New York city comparison. These are, in terms of like cities between the US and the UK, I'd probably say London and New York are probably the most similar because they're both a similar size. And I don't know, like I just sort of view them as a similar city. Like London compared to Los Angeles or compared to, I don't know, Miami, so different. But New York, maybe Chicago a bit as well. I don't know. I just feel like maybe the colder sort of cities or the northern cities in the US, and like Seattle as well, maybe is a bit more similar. But New York is just one that I sort of feel like the comparison is pretty fair. And I mean, I don't know what the in-depth comparisons will be, but I guess it will be like stuff like population, just sort of land size, and other random things. There's loads of sections here, so yeah, we're going to check this out. Hopefully, you're going to enjoy. If you're from New York or you're from London, let me know if the comparisons are fair or not. But obviously, I've been to London like 20 times, to be fair. New York I've never been to, of course, but yeah, we're going to check this out. Hopefully going to enjoy. Links are in the description to my Patreon if you want to see some more of my reactions to different things. But let's see which city is the better city. I don't know if it's going to rank them, to be fair, but yeah, let's jump into this. Oh, so dramatic.
London versus New York City. City comparison. Hello, won't it be great to do a city comparison here? Okay, let's start with London versus New York City comparison. In the course of this comparison, we shall see similarities and differences between living in London and living in New York City. Let me quickly tell you that this is not just a living comparison, but a city comparison.
Something crazy, right? I've never been outside Buckingham Palace. I've never actually gone. I've gone to like Big Ben and stuff, and it's quite close, but I've never gone and looked outside of Buckingham Palace, which is actually quite weird. Because that part of London is a part that you usually go to, or like I went to, like where the London Eye is. You got all like the old buildings, but I've never went outside of Buckingham Palace and seen it in person.
Therefore, while we would love to be as detailed as we can be, please don't feel let down when certain details about living conditions are missing. Nevertheless, here's a highlight of what we think you should know about these two iconic and fanciful cities that boast wonderful foods, classical theatre, exotic lifestyle and state-of-the-art technologies. Please enjoy the city comparison, London versus New York City. Size. London is the largest city of England and the United Kingdom. Sometimes referred to as the City of London and the Square Mile, the city has an area of 2 square miles. But this is smaller than the area known as the Greater London, which is about 607 square miles, which incorporates 32 boroughs. New York City, or NYC, often simply called New York, is the most populous city in the United States. The city, located in the southern part of New York State, the 24th largest city in the US, sits on a total area of 300.46 square miles. New York City is made up of 5 boroughs, namely the Bronx.
Wait, it's half the size. Wait, I'm gonna come back here, but I just want to see the exact size. Was it 600? So 2 square miles.
To London, which is about
what?
United States. The city, located in the southern part of New York State, the 24th largest city in the US, sits on a total area of 300.46 square miles. New York City is made up of 5 boroughs, namely the Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, Staten Island, and Manhattan. Population. What about the population?
Well, I mean, you look at the size, and London is cramped as hell. But I'd probably say London's going to be higher. I should know this, but I don't. London's like, what, 13 million, I think? New York, I think, might be like 11 million.
Of the two cities. The population of London is estimated to be 8.9 million.
Oh, I was wrong.
While that of New York City is 8.8 million.
Oh.
This means more people are living in London than those living in New York City. Did you...
New York's cramped then. I guess, I don't know how they're judging the square miles, because maybe there's a lot of towns on the outskirts of New York that aren't considered or something. But that sounds like it would be so cramped. I mean, obviously, capital cities like this are cramped, but London's cramped. Like, there's so many people in such a small area, but then you see this.
You notice that we mentioned that the figures are just an estimate? The population of New York City is derived from US Census data analysis. While the London area is almost double that of NYC, the population figures for both cities are pretty close. London is only a couple of hundreds of thousand more populous than New York. For that reason, London's population density of 11,407 people per square mile is lower than New York City's. NYC, which is also the most densely populated major city in the US, has a population density of 27,000 people per square mile.
What is Tokyo? I just got to see, because Tokyo is, the population there is ridiculous. Tokyo population per square mile. Oh, why is it in caps? 16. Oh my days. I mean, that has a big difference as well. So 16,480. It's not that dissimilar. I mean, that's crazy. I didn't know it was such a difference. I thought London would be higher, to be honest.
Though London is bigger and more populous than New York City, more people are living on the streets of New York than you would find on London's streets. This is because more New Yorkers are packed and cramped into a smaller area than Londoners. People. This can be a bit controversial, but that's what has been observed about the people who live in both cities. Londoners, as those living in London are called, are polite, though other people see them as being too reserved or even haughty. They're perceived by foreigners as giggly and judgmental. It remains to be proved whether they see themselves in that light.
Damn.
People living in London are keen on structure and politeness in dressing. However, they can be less formal and can even unbutton their shirts at the pub. You could expect them to give you a long French stare if
Unbutton their shirts. That's so specific.
you're an oddball. One beautiful thing about the people living in London is the preservation of tradition. Tea has remained tea since millenniums, and lawyers still appear in white wigs.
Tea's not just a London thing. What the fuck?
On the other hand, New Yorkers, as people living in New York are called, can be erratic, impulsive, but confident. Yet this produces the best result. As a matter of fact, if you don't have a measure of ruggedness or can't cope with furor, the non-stop city of New York is probably not for you. You can be called out for almost anything by New Yorkers. New York is for the determined people. The city, however, is designed and run to allow everyone to get the best. Thus, nothing is depriving anyone of good food, dark humour, and new experiences if you strive. Cleanliness. Both cities have a measure of struggles with dirt.
Yeah.
It is understandable and expected of big cities. But in this city comparison, we have to give it to London. Why? This is not because New Yorkers have less cleaning and maintenance culture than Londoners. The fact is that waste management is challenging in most populous cities, and the higher the population density of a city, the more challenging it is to maintain a standard of cleanliness and orderliness, even in cities with large bodies of water around it. Food. As far as food is concerned, London is none of a big grab-and-go thing. Well, we mentioned tea earlier. You can't take that away from London.
That's the thing though, food in just capital cities like this, you'll get anything in both. You'll get any food you like. Like, obviously New York is known for certain food, but you can get New York versions of things in London. But like, yeah, in these capital cities, you're going to be able to get every cuisine you like and the best quality ones as well. If you want to spend thousands of pounds on a steak, you can do that.
Coffee and pastry are surely for you to take away in the morning. But when it comes to lunch and dinner, London wants you to sit in and eat. There are fantastic restaurants in London where you can have favourite meals which consist of Indian cuisines rich in curry. There is also pub fare with locally raised and farmed foods. Unfortunately, many of the tourists do not know where to go to get the food they desire to eat, even while these foods are readily available and waiting for them somewhere in the city. You can find even your native food there if you can find your way to where it is. A new food scene is the fish and chips pub fare outside of the touristy. It is entirely new and trendy. Check out also Michelin star restaurants in every neighbourhood.
Look at this salt. This is the most pointless salt. It's not staying on any of the
New and trendy. Check out also Michelin star restaurants in
That is just pointless salt, man. What's going on?
every neighbourhood. Now to NYC. In New York City, foodies will thank their stars.
Yeah, they'll
This
get
is the
better
headquarters
food,
of grab-and-go food. There is just something for everyone, from bagels to slices. For instance, the infamous New York slice can't be strange to anyone who has ever moved to New York. There is a giant piece of pizza with the perfect cheese. It's just for a few bucks. If you travel to enjoy dinner in New York, you're in for a delightful sight. There are top restaurants where you can book your order in advance. The fact is that there's something for everyone in every street. A restaurant will be there that serves your need. Is it the one that exclusively makes bao, or one's thriving on Italian fusion? New York City is simply unbeatable. Transportation. We have to tell you that it is difficult to determine which one is better between the two cities when it comes to public transport.
I'm assuming there's an underground in New York. That probably is a really stupid question, but I'm assuming there's because there's undergrounds in most major cities. So you've got the underground, you've got, is there trams in New York? Because there's no trams in London. You've got buses, which I guess everywhere has buses. And you've got boats in New York because that's one of the main ways of travel in New York, really, isn't it? Because you could literally have to go from one side to another. It's just like a group of islands together. Travel there's got to be so unique because, like, it is all just built around this massive, not ocean, but this really wide water area or river or whatever you want to call it.
Taking a taxi in London, for instance, will cost you a nice dinner. And taking a taxi in New York City can be worse than walking the whole journey.
Is this a real picture? Because I know New York's known for its yellow taxis, but is this real? Or is this just dramatised maybe for a film or something? Because unless these areas are only allowed for buses and for taxis, but look at that. That is wild.
London still prides itself in being a pioneer of the underground train service called the Tube. The London Underground remains unmatched to date. In New York City, the subway or metro can be a better way of getting around. It is faster than many other ways of getting around in NYC. One downside to this and other forms of public transportation in London is that they close early on normal days. Hardly do they work past midnight. But in New York City, public transport is 24/7.
24/7? That is a game changer. Why is it not 24/7 in London? So it's just running non-stop. That is interesting.
Shopping. London is great for early risers, as there are many unique coffee shops and handmade breakfasts to enjoy when you want to explore those famous museums. Bear in mind that London is just a stone throw away from the famous shopping centres of the world, such as Paris, Amsterdam and Madrid. You will get many of those top boutique brands when shopping in London. Just anything you are looking for, including even dinosaur fossils, those shops will get them for you. New York City is a city that never sleeps. Everywhere, any time of the day. As mentioned earlier, there are unique restaurants, ice coffee shops and vintage stores in every neighbourhood that has its own cultural norms and styles, especially in Williamsburg. If you'd love to shop and have dinner, New York can be a more welcoming place to visit. London wins shopping in this city comparison.
Really? I thought it'd be New York, to be honest. But
yes, NYC has...
To be fair, I mean, in London, there are certain areas that are just ridiculous.
It's fantastic shopping, but those shops can't stand what London has to offer. Leisure. A good way to illustrate this is the availability of parks. There are more green spaces in London than in New York. All space in this
probably just because of the population density.
Densely populated city has been occupied. In fact, the only park in Manhattan is Central Park. But in London, you have open spaces and parks. Hyde Park and St James's Park are just examples of world-renowned parks. Now, what is your take? London versus New York City. Which one is better? The choice is tough, right? In summary, London is beautiful with the most famous landmarks in the world, while New York City is more exciting and fun-filled. Please, we would love to have your opinion of the two cities.
Well, there we go. London versus New York. London is a wide city from the sky. Doesn't look that impressive compared to other cities around the world. Does it the skyscrapers? Blah, blah, blah. Wait. I always say when people say New York City transportation is 24/7, but so is London's. We have 24-hour bus routes, night routes, and night tubes that run. Oh, I didn't know that. I mean, I'm not from London, so I don't know that. But when I went to London, I just know it stops at certain times. But people are saying it's still not. But anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this reaction. And I mean, if you've been to both cities or if you lived in both cities or whatever, what would you say was your favourite one? And all that. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed. And until next time, like, subscribe, and peace.